Hey, happy Friday morning, everybody. As many of you know, this entire week I've been dedicating to doing all kinds of live streams, cranking through a Stormcast army in just about a week. And last night we did some extreme progress. Let me hold them up here. Try not to touch the base too much, but our Celestin Prime, and I did just a few finishing touches this morning before my wife woke up, before I could record because I don't want to make noise. And finished him up. I'm just waiting for the basing texture to dry. Dry brush him, throw some bushes on there, and he will be done. So, with that, I'm doing this stream early for me, so it's 11 o'clock my time, AM, and I wanted to catch, hopefully, some of my European viewers. There was a time where I tried doing a lot of streams on Fridays. This time I have Fridays off. I want to catch some people over in the EU, and this seemed to work for me. So, anyway, I'm going to go back to the downward cam. At this point, we have 1,520 points done of Stormcast with the Celestin Prime included. And so, I'm just kind of finishing up a few things here. Thomas Wakefield, hello, good morning. And so, actually, what I need to do before I touch these sequiturs is I need to figure out what makes a legal unit. So come along with me on a journey. We're going to, because basically I got a whole stinking bunch of sequiturs and also basically like several contents of Soul Wars, and I think he added 2 boxes of ones he built himself when I got this set, and I need to figure out how many great weapons I can have. Because I have 20 that are unpainted, and so I have to kind of shuffle around to make like the right sized unit. Let's see. Sequiturs. Did I pass them? Paint all the models. That's the plan. Why am I not seeing sequiturs? There we go. Oh my god, it's $60. Will you buy them? Ugh. Okay, sorry. Sequiturs, 2 in every 5 can replace their weapon options. Oh, that's funny. I read that little at the same time as on the right. Thomas, you chimed that in. That's funny. Okay, so 2 in every 5. So I'm making a unit of 10. So go back to the downward cam here. Let's see. Those are not great weapons. 1, 2. So I can have up to 4. Let's try and mix up the sculpts a little bit here, just so I don't go insane. That's a great one because I don't know if I'll talk about it a few times this week. Plus leader, yes. So some of the Soul Wars ones, like this is a great example. The symbol of the hammer and the lightning bolts is super poorly designed. Remember the Prime can take a great mace in addition to 2 and 5. Sweet. That's really, really cool. But so I'm picking out the ones that have the best shoulder pads. So hold on a second. Let me get these. I also have 10 more, and we're just going to pick out 10 from amongst the 20 that look the best. Let's see. Yeah. Librarian of Hope, hello everybody. I'm hoping I'm catching some of y'all over in Europe and the UK area. Honestly, with the shoulder pads, it's only some of them. Like, I know some of these models came from Soul War sets. Oh, here's an Ordinator. Put him off to the side. And so it's just kind of odd that, like, I don't know if it was just they had a printing issue and they were like, no, it's good enough for some of the Soul War sets, and others it was fine. I don't know. Let's see. So let me pull that War Scroll back up and let's take a look. Could I bother anyone with some pointers in the use of Agrax Earthshade? Sure. What are you putting Agrax Earthshade on? Let's see. A unit of Sequiturs has any number of models. The unit is armed with one of the following weapon options: Stormsight Maul and Soul Shield, Tempest Blade and Shield. 2 in every 5 models can have a Great Mace. This unit can have a Sequitur Prime, can replace its weapon options with a Storm Great Mace in addition to any other models. Yes, so you are totally correct. Caradrin. Well, Um, what's confusing you about Agrix Earthshade? It's you kind of just glaze it on, and if it gets a little too dark, you can build the color back up with like whatever was on initially. So if you're painting over like silver, I would give it like base it with silver lead belcher, wash it with Agrix Earthshade, and then pick the higher edges with lead belcher again, and you'll get those nice crisp shadows and that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's pick out everyone with a great mace. And then we will choose from that bunch. These two. I think that is it. Oh, she has like a ghost trap. I think I already painted one of these. Let's see. If a Sequitur Prime is armed with a Storm Maul and Soul Shield, they may also carry a Redemption Cache, which I'm assuming is the Ghostbuster trap right there. Let's see. How many coats? Put one on, let it dry. And I usually just do one coat with a wash, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't, unless I'm trying to blend or something like that, that's when I'll use multiple coats. But generally speaking, it's just one. Okay, so we need to pick out some leaders, and we're gonna divvy them out by how good the shoulder pads look. Let's see. That's my main deciding factor. So he looks great. This one's a strong contender. That one's good. These are all pretty crappy. So let's see. Unfortunately, none of these have like the fancy shoulder pad of like the hero. Actually, I have 2 of those. Nope, I have 3. Huh, bummer. That's okay. Yes, if we did, so that would be right 2 in every 5, and then we need 1 more for the leader. That's what it is. And those are all burly dudes. I don't know. That basically means those are all useless. That's kind of lame. We'll put her. That's a cool looking hero model. I like this one. Okay. And then we just need a whole bunch of normal dudes. So that's, what, 5? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do I have one more normal bro? Yeah, I got a few. There we go. Bueno. There we go. So there is my unit of 10. Actually, I'm going to sub this guy out. I got this one for free from a G-Dub store because I was trying to get someone else into the hobby, and so I gave them a free Sequitur just to paint. And yeah. Do I still have enough for... Oh yeah, look at that. I still have enough for an additional unit. Okay, cool. Right on. It's kind of odd that he just made so many great maces. Okay. I'm just going to throw these guys in my bin. I mysteriously went from having no Stormcast to almost 4,000 points of it in about 2 weeks. And I might as well throw the teal on the Ordinator just to have him. Celestial Vindicators, McMutton Chops. All right, let me hop back in the chat. Sorry, guys, I kind of got distracted there. Vince had an artist and he scraped off the pauldrons. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, the first few Sequiturs that I did, the ones that are up on my wall, and you can see them on Instagram, I kept looking at them. I was like, I thinned out these white paints so hard. Like, how come it's clogging up all the detail on, you know, the shoulder pads? Because, like, you know, the white would build up and it just would almost completely cover the stupid hammer symbol. I had no idea. And then it wasn't until, like, I looked at some of the unpainted models where I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize that, like, there's just no detail. There's no depth to it. I was like, lame. Let's see. Oh, thank you all for chiming in and helping our good friend, Librarian of Hope. Tomb King Tristan, he did some freehand patterns. I wouldn't mind seeing those. I might go check that out. I think that was with Sam Lenz, I think is his name, he had on recently. That'd be cool. I'll be honest. So yesterday in the mail, I talked about this a little bit. So someone locally was clearing out just a ton of Stormcast stuff, but it was basically, I say a ton. It wasn't like this lot that I bought was a ton. It was an entire army with the books and everything. But the lot that I snagged this week was the Blight War set plus another box of Vanguard Hunters, I think. I thought originally it said Raptors, but then I kind of gave a cursory glance to the contents of the box, and I was like, oh, that's not Raptors for sure. So I think I may have misread that, and it's actually Hunters, but that's cool. And so actually not too far off from being able to form a Vanguard chamber, which, to be honest, I'm more excited about than the Sacrosanct stuff, even though Sacrosanct stuff is almost uniformly better than anything else in the army. But I like the pose and the aggressive stances of all of the Vanguard stuff. They just look mean. Let's see. Oh, give me 1 second. Most frustrating thing with the Secular kits is that they don't provide enough Great Maces to max out the unit. Oh, they don't? Well, I find myself with an overabundance of Great Maces, so if you're in the U.S., I might just throw them up on eBay or something like that. I don't know. So, I'm not sure how. Like I said, I bought the Stormcast used from a guy, and I'm still trying to piece together. It's like one of those episodes of Forensic Files, right? You're trying to piece together the clues to come up with a story. I have no idea how this guy came into ownership of such random stuff. He must have just been a eBay poacher like that. Not poacher sounds negative. I mean like he just sniped good things off of eBay. Just because of the strange loadouts. Like, I just don't know anyone who complains about having too many special weapons and that kind of stuff. It's like, how did I get all these? Because my initial thought was like, oh, it looks like he bought multiple sets of Soul Wars. And then I'm looking at it closer. It's like, well, he had multiples of the Endless Spells. I'm like, okay, so maybe he was starting a collection and then somebody else was getting out of the Stormcast, so he bought those because it was a good deal. And that's how, because there's just no reason to have doubles Endless Spells. I was like, I don't know. I can't figure it out. Let's see. You have Stormcast now and Skaven still. Any others? Yeah, I do still have the Skaven. I'm doing a narrative mini campaign with the Celestial Vindicators here, as well as the particularly Clan Pestilens of my Skaven. Anything else? I do have my Carriage and Overlord still. They make fantastic wall decorations for behind me. Let me see. You can see them. There's the boat right there with the book and the army right there. And here's the thing with the KO. I just like the way the models look. So I'm going to hold on to them until the new book comes out. And I don't care about their power level. If they seem like they can be fun on the table, I'll keep them. If not, they'll go on eBay. I have no real strong emotional attachment to them. Because what's interesting with the KO is that when I started painting them, so I started painting the KO coming off of a whole bunch of Beasts of Chaos. Sorry, I kind of got them right at the same time as I was getting out of that army. And I just enjoyed painting them more than I have enjoyed painting a model in a long time. Oh, Hugh. Hey there. Sorry. If you gotta go, it's good to see you again. Um, make sure I'm missing your questions. Yeah, awesome. Hope you enjoy your Stormcast. Um, so yeah, but so I enjoyed keeping them because I enjoyed painting them so much. But then what I think I realized is I just really just wanted to paint stuff with color. The last few armies I painted and used, including the Beast of Chaos, just had a distinct lack of color. And so that's why I was like, I'm going to do Celestial Vindicators. Teal, and then my accents are almost universally pinks and purples. Like the swirls on the Stealth Prime or the hide on the Griff Charger. And I gotta tell you, like, I've been more motivated to paint this army than I have been in a long time. Like, I'm trying to think of the last army that I was like, I just love this. And so, yeah. And I never based all of the Beasts of Chaos, like actually went out of my way and did basing, and I have for these guys, and it occurred to me that I haven't had a based army since, I guess, Iron Jaws? That was several months ago. So, I don't know, it feels good. It feels like I'm really making some progress. I got armies that are good enough to show up on Rerolling One's battle reports for my own personal standard. And I'm just kind of excited about it. This week actually has been really good for me just to start painting and just, I don't know. GW's been coming out so fast and heavy with all these new books that, like, I just haven't enjoyed all aspects of the hobby with being so busy making content. So it's been nice to just kind of take a step back and just remember why I like all this stuff. That's the thing, is like I don't need much time. I can really crank out an army. Thomas Wakefield, my Stormcast scheme is kind of similar to Celestial Vindicators, but I'm calling them Anvils of Heldenhammer subchapter. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm painting them this way because I like the scheme. It's actually a bit brighter if you look at the. So basically, well, my point in saying that was I encourage people to paint whatever you want, and then you can call them whatever you want in the game. I've never cared about that. What I was gonna say was, this is technically, since it's not Sotek green, I'm using a army painter paint called Hydra Turquoise, which is just a hair brighter than Sotek, which is what they recommend for Celestial Vindicators. And I think it just makes them pop a little bit more. But it's just different enough, you know? I can be like, these guys are whatever I want them to be today. Steve, I gotta figure out how I'm going to paint my Beast of Chaos. I picked about 90 gore and 50 Vestigore to add to my Beast of Chaos army. I think contrast paints might help me out in this endeavor. Yep, I would certainly, most certainly, I would probably say like paint your heroes while you're waiting, because it's going to be like a couple weeks, I think, like 2 or 3 weeks. There's no official timeline for when they come out. I'm just assuming they just built it up so much. I can't imagine they're going to make us wait very long. So, yeah, I would say just paint your heroes, because, you know, you could probably put a little more work into the heroes. There's not a ton of them in that army. And then, yeah, man, when contrast paints come out, just go hog wild. You can prime the entire thing in a day. You can start building up those, because a lot of it's just, you pick a flesh tone color, and you're going to pick a fur color. And the rest of it is just gravy. Because honestly, I remember like the stances of Gore and Vestigore are fantastic for quick painting. They just are. Let me grab one of these, my garbage brushes, to do some mixing with water. By that I mean that like the legs are like far apart and well planted, so it's pretty easy to avoid like getting paint where you don't want it to be, that kind of stuff. Let's see. Mine are a candy metallic teal. Ooh, that's cool. How'd you get the metallic teal? You just add a the metal medium or something like that? Chris says, hey everyone. Hello. Kevin, hey Doug, lovely work. I'm wading through my Fire Slayer cell swords now. Glad to catch it twice in a day. Nice. Yeah, I'm interested to see. So they came out and said that the mercenary rules are matched play, and I assume they'll stay in matched play, or maybe it's just a testing ground to see how it works, and then they'll go to matched to narrative play. I don't know. Sorry, mercenary rules are a narrative play. Maybe it's a testing ground to see if it'll go to matched play. Got myself twisted up there. But yeah, I'm very interested in what units they're going to allow us to hire for mercenary work. Honestly, I'd love it if there were some death units, because there was that Rumgate War story where a Banshee and her lackeys helped kill a bunch of chaos for Stormcast, and I thought that was just a really cool story. Doug read my comment. I'm so starstruck. I promise I'm not special. Let's see. What do you think the next battle tome for Chaos, Order, and Destruction and Death are? Ooh. Well, Order, I think, obviously, is Sylvaneth. At least it seems to be the furthest one in development cycle. We're not quite sure, though. As far as Destruction, I want Ogres, but part of me thinks that, like, Ironjaws were such a slam dunk when that army came out. It just seems like they'd be leaving money on the table to not have an Ironjaws book out soon. As far as Death, I'm hoping for Soulblight. So my good friend Brent on Rerolling Ones can bust out his army. So when Soulblight became a thing in General's Handbook, and they could have like Vargolfs as battle line and that kind of stuff, he went out and got a whole bunch of those, and it was just really, really cool stuff. It was really excited about it, and then they kind of tweaked it, and now Soulblight doesn't quite work the same. I'm not super in depth on their rules, but there's something about it that changed where it doesn't quite work the way he had it designed before. So that was a bit of a buzzkill. Let's see. Corey Bragg, question. During Warhammerfest, they said there is still a death battle tome coming this year. What would you want it to be? Oh, yeah, sorry. Answered that incidentally. Yeah, I want Soulblight. So I either want Soulblight or I want human followers that may or may not worship Nagash. I want more of those armies that either serve him or have a choice to say no, because I think that's cool narratively. Because if you did the humans, then you can like really buff up the Necromancer range, and that would be cool. Because right now it's just that one crotchety old guy. Which he's a cool model. It just, basically every Necromancer I've ever read in a story just doesn't seem like that. Let's see. Thomas Wakefield, the base is the spray can silver, then airbrush, badger, ghost tint. Okay, plasma fluid. Yep, that'll do it. Someday I will likely get into airbrushing. The problem is I'm trying to wean myself away from army swapping, and making it easier to paint an entire army seems like it's a backward step from that. That was our fun discussion when they announced the contrast paints. They're like, oh man, Doug's going to be unstoppable now. And it's like, no, Doug wants to become more stoppable. let's see. I'm just kind of doing the base colors on the Ordinator, because why not? I was actually looking at his rules. He's actually a really cool model. I love. Not even. I don't like ballistas, so I probably wouldn't bring him for that. But I just love the super basic Battleshock immunity. That's just a good thing to have. All right. Okay. And I'm just going to do, I always do one more just super thinned out coat to smooth things over and just kind of build a nice strong finish. Would love a Deadwalker army. Oh, someone typed in F. Is there something going on? My audio out or something? Bring back Tomb Kings. Pass. I just have no interest. I made this statement. I was a guest at one point on Warhammer Weekly, and they came out with the made-to-order like Tomb Kings thing, and I kind of groaned, and Vince was like, "Doug, what are your thoughts on that?" And I was like, "Well, if you keep hinting at Tomb Kings, it's like drunk dialing your ex, right? It's just like, I know that you think you're doing fan service and making us happy. It's like, but it just gets harder every time. Like, it just, no good comes of it." Okay. Coming through loud and clear. Thank you. Free Peoples just need a battle tome. Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick an order one, if I was going to pick a new battle tome to come out, like one that didn't already just exist and needed a revamp, I would say Free People. If I was going to pick one to revamp, specifically Seraphon, followed quickly on the heels by Carriage and Overlords. But I definitely think Seraphon have earned priority. As much as I want my KO, my precious, beautiful KO, to see the table a bit more, I can't shake the fact that, like, Seraphon players, one of the first books, we've already had, 2, 3 Khorne books, 3 Stormcast, 4 if you count the Dragon Chamber thing, which we should, because it was technically a book. Bring back the Bretts. Boo. I scoff, sir. The problem is everything has gone so epic in scale. I just can't fathom a whole bunch of knights on horseback and being like, that's it. I mean, the Free Guild has the same issue, but at least they have guns. Wait, did Bretonnians have guns? I can't remember now. Maybe surprised now that Slaanesh came out. Maybe Elves need a tome. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either, especially with that Shadespire warband. It looks, it looks eerily like a creature from Hysh. John Rocco, question: what have you finished painting for this army over the course of the week? We have got 10 Sequitors, so there's a whole other unit besides these. 10 Sequitors, 5 Evocators, 5 Judicators, a Celestant Prime, just needs to be dry brush for the base, and 2 Ballistas, a Lord Arcanum, and a Knight Incantor. So basically the Soul Wars set, Evocator, yeah, a whole bunch of stuff. So that puts us at 15, 20 of completed things, not included these sequitors here. So yeah, I have enough for a 1,000-point game, obviously, but then also if my opponent is cool with an extra 20 points on my end, doing a 1,500-point game. Yeah, my next, after these, I'm going to do my least favorite thing in the hobby, which is build some models. I got to build 5 evocators. Always hated building models. Partially because it takes it. I don't know if anyone else has this, but it just takes me so much longer than I think it will every single time. Like every single time. It is absurd. I'm like, oh yeah, I can get these guys. No, it's only 5 in a box. It's whatever. It's whatever. And all of a sudden, like 2 hours later, I'm like, F. I hate this guy. His stupid face, his stupid staff, and his stupid sword. Soul Wars evocators or multi-kit? Multi-kit. Yeah, so the evocators I have built now all came from Soul Wars. So there's a couple copies. There's so they came with 3 in the Soul Wars set. So there's 2 doubles and then 1 of the leader guys of that unit. So it's diverse enough. I mean, honestly, I'm not worried about it. And then I'm going to build and paint 5 of my own, and then I can kind of intermingle them to get a little bit of visual diversity. So yeah, they'll be just fine. Sweet. Oh, let's see. Doug, do you think you'll get evocators on Dracoline models? I love the models, but I've never seen them used. Yeah, I intend to. So basically, with the eventually, what I really want to do is do an entire Vanguard army, which I do have quite a bit of stuff for. Not quite enough for an entire army yet. But sorry, I had to stretch. What I do have is a metric butt ton of infantry. Like I have, well, we just counted them out. So a sum total of 25 sequitors, 10 evocators, ballistas. I got 10 judicators total. Like just a bunch of guys on foot. And so I'm probably going to get the Dracolines and mix it with the Paladors for the sheer sake of just having like other models than dude on foot. So, because I gotta mix it up to stay interested. So once I get all my infantry done, then we're gonna start exploring all kinds of crazy stuff. I have big plans for my Stormcast because I'm just enjoying the color scheme so stinking much. So yeah, I'm not sure how it's all gonna pan out. I already sold off some of it. Like I actually had 20 more sequitors. I just threw them up on eBay. I was like, I'm done. I'm not painting these. I'm tired of the white robes. I'd rather be painting hunters. Okay, so there's my 10. Oh, because I missed a question here. Can't wait for Everchosen. The new Warcry bands are hopefully competitive. Yeah, that'd be cool. Doug, you think you'll get evocators on Drac? Oh, sorry, heard that one. Are you gonna go give the multi-kit ones big staves? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's see. What's poppin' about the staves? I've never actually looked at the War Scrolls. This was a painting project that turned into what kind of looks like my main army for right now. Okay. Unit indicators has any number of models. Each is armed with a Tempest Blade. Storm Stave. Okay, so every single one of them can replace it with a Grand Stave. Grand Stave is 3 attacks, 3 is to hit, 3 is to wound, and 2 damage. I'm torn, because the models I own don't have a lot of rend, and so that rend 1 on the Tempest Blade and Storm Stave sounds good. What do you guys think? The nice thing is, so if I go with the Tempest Blade and Storm Stave, I can very easily intermingle them with the existing evocators because that's what came with the Soul War set. But if I go with Grand Staves, then the two are just separate units, and that's fine. I mean, it's whatever. It's not a huge deal. But I'm kind of curious, what do you guys think? Grand Staves or Tempest Blade and Storm Stave? I'm not sure. Honestly, I see evocators being taken a lot in lists, but I don't see their weapon loadouts a whole lot. All I hear about is their Celestial Lightning Arc. Let's see, Chris. Doug, word of warning from someone who builds all my lists around the Jackalines are 300 points for 3 in match play, which can really limit the options available for the rest of the list. Absolutely, yeah. And actually, I am running into the same kind of mental gymnastics as I'm trying to find ways to like include my Paladors, because eventually I'm gonna have to buy the Start Collecting box for Stormcast, the Vanguard one, because I need the Lord Aquilor to make my Hunter's battle line. And I was like, well, okay, well, at that point I'd have 9 Paladors, but they're 200 points for every 3. It's like, oof. But it's also 15 wounds and 4 up save. They're great. You can mix and match. Oh yeah, that's a great point, everyone. You're right. I can absolutely mix and match. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So I guess it doesn't really matter in terms of like me modeling and building units and that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. Let's grab. Are these dry yet? Oh, they need just a second more. Or is he dry yet? And he needs a few more minutes. Texture paint takes forever to dry. What's exciting is that like tonight I should be able to at least bust out my huge light box and take several pics of what we've accomplished this week, so it should be pretty cool. Build staves for the reach. Big staves are 2 inches. Tell you what, I'm going to build them with grand staves, and that way I can just mix and match whatever. You know, at least I'll have different looking models and I can swap them in the units. That sounds fine. Let's see. Chris Ashworth. Do you think the announcement of Warcry and that the new paint contest is called Everchosen, is that hints to Slaves to Darkness Everchosen tome? No, because they've always had the Slayer Sword, which is Archeon's weapon, as the prize for their big painting thing. So I think Everchosen is just an extension of kind of that theme of naming. I mean, we know from the malign portent sort of like that, like everyone who got a model, I don't know, from the malign portent stories, like the Lord Ordinator was one. They've all gotten huge releases, so I feel very confident that there's going to be a Slaves to Darkness, Everchosen, Dark Oath, whatever you want to call it thing. But I'm just not sure when. So yeah. Let's see. Steve, are you going to T-Shift? That's an event up here. I have no official plans to. When is it? Let's see. I'd rather get a Servo Skull trophy myself. So, yeah. Okay. Great little brush here. We're going to start. And we'll just start laying down the base. Always do Celestra Gray to paint white. Let's see, I think it's a 3 to 8 4. I don't know why I couldn't go. I should check it out. Jack is always trying to get me to go to more events. He wants me to. You know, every introvert needs a more extroverted friend, and that's exactly where Jack comes in. He's like, you got to get out there. You got to meet the people, you know. Let's see. I have a dream/goal one day selling a license to my work to Games Workshop and make a kill team kind of game with my lore. So designing a game, like a skirmish game, and then licensing it off to her, selling the rights to it. Jack already has his T-shift ticket. Let's see. Okay. So this is by far the most tedious part of this scheme. It's just building up the white. By quite a margin. It is the most tedious aspect of it, but that's all right. Results look good. Let's see, so what is everyone working on right now? Open that up to the chat. Okay. I decided to take a break from painting because I'm tired. Now I'm motivated to continue because I'm watching you. Aw, well, thank you. Yeah, my wife has a friend over right now, and I was just sitting here wrapping up those details on the Celestin Prime, and I was like, you know what? It seems like a good time to do my 5th day in a row of live streaming, which is really actually quite big for me. I took a little break from the live streaming for just a smidge. You know, when the Slaanesh book came out, I just didn't have the capacity to do a ton of live streaming because I was so set on getting lore videos out for that. But I'll be honest with you, I really just enjoy just painting, hanging out with people, even more so than doing the lore videos. Lucas, Doug, Lucas. Candy Metallic Teal Judicators. I love it. Thundric Profiteers. That's awesome. Busy building out your Blades of Corn Skull Altar for Chi Shift. Sweet. Is T-Shift a competitive event, or is that more of a narrative thing? I know nothing about it. I know. Well, the only reason I know that the event even exists, honestly, is that the 40k guys really promote it a lot because there is a 40k event there. But that one's definitely a competitive one. I knew that. Good to watch your stream. Updated Let's see. I'm unfreezing breads in Subway. Manager isn't here. I love it. What's a narrative game like? I mean, a narrative game is just anything where you and your opponent, where you're just trying to tell a story. For most of our games we do locally, we still use points. It's just we might have asymmetrical forces, or we build a cool backstory for our models and that kind of stuff. I think a lot of things that have to do with narrative stuff is just, honestly, the battle plans are very asymmetrical, meaning like you have just straight up different objectives. That's a huge thing. Whereas in match play, it's like you're both fighting for this thing. Whoever has the thing is the winner of the thing. But yeah, I honestly, I truly love asymmetrical objectives where it's just like, your guy's trying to get to the base and you're trying to destroy, I don't know, his messenger. Because it gets everyone thinking about very different things. Let's see. Jack says it's competitive. Okay. That's alright. You're talking to a man who came in 5th at a local event by running a Grand Alliance Chaos Army, so I'm pretty impressive as a person and also as a wargamer. Oh, you know what? I'm going to throw some teal on here. I completely missed her leg. It's annoying that some of these legs are covered up by the robe, so they kind of blend in. And then others are not. Here we go. Let's see, Winter's SEO does some awesome 40k narrative battle report. That's sweet. I don't see enough 40k narrative stuff on the interwebs. I'm glad someone's doing it. People have mentioned this channel to me before. I don't watch a ton of battle reports, period. But I will check it out sometime. Right. Building up a nice white coat. Customizing dudes is cool. I have an Overlord, Phonica Admech, and Mistlight Trading Fleet carriage on. There's a lot of words in there I don't understand. That's cool. It's cool. It's cool. But yes, customizing characters is rad. That's one of the things I want to do going forward with the Stormcast. So obviously, like, you know, when you buy used models, they're already built and that kind of stuff. And converting things is, I find, much harder when they're already built and possibly primed. But I do want to start, like I mentioned, getting the Stormcast Vanguard set, because I do want to run all Vanguard. Like, I want every one of those models to be converted, just to break up the monotony of the Vanguard stuff I already have that's built. How are you doing with everything? You sound a little tired. Greetings from Uruguay. I am a little tired. I was up till almost 1 in the morning last night painting, which is super unusual for me. I tend to really, really like sleep. I say I like sleep. I just have a lot of trouble sleeping. My body doesn't seem to want to unwind at night, and so, yeah, staying up late doesn't happen all the time. And then I had to get up early because my wife's guest came over, so I'm a little bit out of it. I'm not gonna lie to you. But as our patron saint Bob Ross said, every day is a good day when you paint. Okay. Did I miss anything? Nope. Good. Hey, what's up? I have a quick question. Is it still possible to play Tomb Kings in Age of Sigmar? Thank you. Possible? Yes. Likely? Not really. The reason I say that is because they have War Scrolls. There's a few ways you can go about this. So let's say if you own a Tomb Kings army, I'm just going to throw that out there. If you own Tomb King models already and you want to play them, you can play open play with them, meaning no points. You just set up a game with your opponent and you play a little narrative mission, whatever you want to do. Or you can use them as proxies for stuff from a death army, like just explain to your opponent what unit is what and play them as Legions of Nagash. The thing is, they're just not a supported army in terms of points values and things like that, to my understanding. So right off the bat, your opponent has to be cool with playing Tomb Kings anyway. And once they go that far, they might as well just let you do whatever you want from a narrative perspective. But no, they're not officially a supported army anymore. It's weird to imagine there will be a day when people are playing this. I mean, it's already happening, who have no memory. Like, you can say Tomb Kings and Bretonnians, and they'll be like, who's that? Their keyword is Desert Legions, I believe. Sweet, sweet. Nagash is the most successful villain I've ever seen. I mean, in the sense of all villains' plans seem to go astray, he certainly put more work into his plan than many others, right? He had the skeletons collecting grave sand for a long, long time. Let's see. All right. Archeon is very successful. Yeah, he is. He is a straight shooter with upper management written all over him. Archeon is not a servant. Librarian of Hope. He serves no one but himself. He takes basically the other Chaos God to try to offer him, like, hey, Archeon, come work for me and I'll give you this amazing boon. This huge power or something like that. And he takes the power, the reward, and refuses to serve exclusively to any one of them. It's actually why his mount has the heads of a Nurgle demon, Tzeentch, and Khorne, because they all tried, after he took the gifts and refused to serve them exclusively, they all tried to kill him with various beasts. And he just fused him into his mount, which is baller. Let's see. So my Cetra model I bought last year from GW Online Store is useless. Well, last year we were still 2 years into Age of Sigmar with very little to no Tomb King support, so you bought the model because you like the model. And in that sense, it is not useless, because it's still a cool model. Plus the resale value on this thing is because there's people who just like it because it's Cetra the Eternal model, so you could probably get your money back on eBay if you're unsatisfied with that. Let's see. Yeah, the secondary market has certainly died down from the insanity of like $400 for Necro Sphinx with the damn Mike just dropped on Tomb Kings. No, nothing like that. Okay. Let's see. His tabard. Nice thing is once the white is 90% of the time on this model, everything else just comes together super quick. Although I did, for some reason, without thinking about it, do things in the wrong order this time. So normally at this point what I would do is actually do the wash of Colia Greenshade to add shadow to the the teal. I don't know why I just forgot about it. I think it's because it was still dry and I was like, what else can I do? And I just started on the white, but that's okay. I'll just be careful with my wash brush. Hugh says, what's up, Doug? How you doing? Also, I see that you are painting your Stormcast. He from Long Beach. Back for a little bit. Hey, Hugh. Yeah, just trying to... I keep talking about how I'm not super into Sacrosanct Chamber, and that's all I've been painting, I feel like. Just because I have it, and there's no reason not to paint it once I own it, you know? Plus, because I do have the Lord Aquilor all kinds of done, all these guys are battle line, and that's kind of what I need right now. I need to focus on making a usable army, so battle line it is. Librarian of Hope. The Stormcasts are... Wait, hold on a second. Stormcasts are dead souls with Sigmar juice and great weapons. No. They are... Sort of. So, kind of their backstory is like... Right when they're about to... During the Age of Chaos, right when they're about to die, they would cry out to Sigmar for strength, just kind of like, please God, help me avenge, blah, blah, blah. And so he basically didn't let them die. He struck them with lightning and took them up to Azir, where then they were infused with deity power. So they're not... The Anvils of Heldenhammer are all previously dead souls that he brought up to Azir, but not all Stormcast actually died. before becoming Stormcast. So they're not all dead people, but now they have been infused with his power, and so now they are deathless going forward. Sigmar juice. That needs to happen. I'm sure there'll be some Bugman's Brewery thing that'll come up with their bar in at Warhammer World. That'll be Sigmar juice, and it'll just be like 6 ounces of tequila with a couple ice cubes. Okay. Let's see. Connor, just working on my skull altar. If Khorne took bronze paint instead of skulls, I'd be his greatest champion. I love it. The Sigmarita. I love it. That's awesome. That's awesome. Tell me, Connor, how do you like in your have you played with the Skull Throne yet in your game? Khorne is one of those releases that like there were mixed reactions because people wanted other books first, and it's whatever, not everyone's gonna be happy, but I haven't heard much about the faction since that book dropped, and so I'm kind of curious. Jack is our resident Khorne player, but then we got hit with Flesh Eater Courts and Slanesh and what there's Fire Slayers, or he also owns those. So kind of just too many things all at once. Let's see. Gotta say, I like Khorne's summoning mechanic the most, probably followed by Nurgle. Let me think about that one a little bit. Slanesh is also pretty great. Let's see. Question: Why is AOS lore is cool? Why do I think AOS lore is cool? Is that what you're asking? In response to Khorne, Jack says they are fun and as complicated as you want to make them. I place them mid-tier. Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's super fair. Super duper fair. Do you think we'll see new Chaos Warriors when Slaves to Darkness Tomb is released? I have no idea. I ebb and flow from Dark Oath will just be an expansion, kind of like how Stormcast added a chamber and that kind of stuff. And then some days I'm like, they're just gonna scrap it all and restart. I have no clue whatsoever. What would be an interesting turn is if Chaos Warriors, like as we know them now, were still legal models, but you could also use the Warcry warbands as stand-in Chaos Warriors. That'd be kind of a cool thing, and I would not mind that. Give me a reason to go buy some just to have model diversity and that kind of stuff. I wouldn't mind that. I like the new book a lot. I think a lot of the mortal armies have so much more choice now, but positioning is a whole new ballgame with the new Holy Within malarkey. Yeah. Okay. One more hit of Celestial Gray. The reason this takes the longest is because I do your big base coat of Celestia Gray and then have to go back on at least do one more round on everything. Typically it's not that bad, but once the Celestia Gray is built up, then it gets really, really quick. It's just a fantastic base. Yes, for his lore. This is complete question. You're asking, okay, so why is it cool to me? I mean, it's subjective to everyone. Why do I think ASLO is cool? One, it has a wealth of possible settings, so you can create a story that happens anywhere. It is very much open-ended in terms of if there's an army you want to build, you can build it. In terms of like the scale of things, it ranges from combat that we could see here in the real world, as far as like free people fighting and that kind of stuff, all the way to the far end of God Beast clashing in the sky as everything's turned into the sixth layer of hell and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I like that extreme fantasy. I've never been a fan of the more traditional fantasy. Like I don't care for Tolkien, never have. Yeah. Personally, I like the idea of the realms. That's not everyone's cup of tea. I'm okay with the parts that aren't very well explained. Yeah. It's a good... When I think about like sci-fi and that kind of stuff, like the best sci-fi books, they create a situation where you're talking about one thing, but you're really talking about another, right? For example, Brave New... let's do Clockwork Orange is a great sci-fi book, where it's an alternate future where like just things are crazy and havoc, and while you're talking about those things, what you're really talking about is the nature of good, evil, and choice and how that plays into it, and free will. And so my point is, like, you create settings, and then with those settings you use them to have interesting discussions about moral quandaries and that kind of stuff. And so Age of Sigmar are using those things to be like, what is the nature of the soul? In Soul Wars, sorry, spoiler if you're reading for the book club, there's just an interesting conversation between Nagash and a Stormcast about like the nature of mortals in comparison to gods, and why do you do what you do. I don't know. I like that kind of stuff. Much like Flesh Eater Courts is perception versus reality is kind of their theme. Okay. Oh, you're very welcome, Hugh. Hope that was a satisfactory answer. Hi there. Oh, Oscar. Yeah, how you doing? Just dropping in to say hello. Now I'm off to the pub. Sweet. Drink one for me. It is 11:45 here, so I got another 15 minutes before it's socially acceptable to have a drink. Let's see. Almost done. We got one more of these dudes. I'm gonna wait on the ordinator. I don't really like doing heroes in my big batches with other stuff. For me, heroes are like a treat, you know? Get to focus on just one model when the units are cranked through. I just really want, like, it's one of those things, once you have the base teal paint, like, thinned out and that stuff, it's like, he's right there, why not? Oh, actually, we have stuff we can talk about. So in today's news, for anyone who's listening, they released a preview for Forbidden Power. And it has, so if you didn't know, it has 4 endless spells and a piece of terrain or something like that. I think that's it, right? Because you got maybe it's 3 endless spells, piece of terrain. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, I'm excited for that piece of terrain. They kind of made it seem like, and someone can correct me if they watched the stream, because they mentioned they used it on the stream, but I couldn't find it. This idea that like any faction can take it, the piece of terrain, as like their faction terrain, quote unquote, or you can use it as just a generic. It's just there like anything else. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's a super interesting thing. It'd be really great if factions who didn't have a battle tome yet all got a piece of terrain that they can use. Just to kind of do something, and then its effects are pretty stellar. It does work for both parties. It's the only downside, but if you have a hero, basically you can kind of like tune it to do one of 2 things, and there's a chance every turn that it'll automatically swap to the other. And those 2 things are buffing your 2 hit rolls, and the other one is you get a command point that there's a hero nearby. And it's like, oh, that's so cool. Okay. Librarian of Hope. I was thinking I got a snack. Zaku. Batch work is the only way to get things done sometimes. Turn into assembly line. Yep. Yeah, with the exception of him, everything is in a assembly line. Boop. Great. So I'm just going to thin down my Celestial Grey just a smidge extra. And go back over, do that second round of the gray. This is what makes it really nice and solid. Was Galmaraz upgraded along with Sigmar when he became a god? I mean, it's just his weapon. I don't think they went into much detail about, like, honestly, they went into very little detail about Galmaraz, to be super honest. We know that it's like an extension of him. It's like when he lost it, it was like losing one of his hands or whatever. And then when he got it back, he felt complete, and then proceeded to just kind of hand it to his champion, who is the Celestin Prime. Kind of over-thinned that Celestial Grey. Don't want it to get streaky. Here we go. Yeah, they kind of went into a little bit of detail about when he lost it, but not so much its direct relationship to him. In terms of, like, you know, it being a source of his power like that. I don't know. So in game, Steve says, have you gotten any games in yet with your Stormcast, or are you waiting till they are painted? I've done demo games recently. I haven't actually played like a full game of AOS in quite some time, to be honest with you. But I did some demo games for people with them. I wasn't really waiting for them to be painted, but I definitely prefer it. But yeah, so now I'm ready and looking for games. But yeah, I played. What did I play? Played with a few of them. Did like a 500-ish point demo with a guy. Yeah, just odds and ends. I still need to make like my little remember me list, so I have all these new rules that I need to not forget. Ooh, and I also need to paint the endless spells. That's an easy 100 points right there with the comet. Let's see. So in game terms, is calling Stormcast Fantasy Marines accurate? I mean, sure, if that's how you see them. There's a lot of distinctions between Stormcast and Space Marines in terms of how they're acquired, what they do, kind of the nature of their makeup. But, if it helps you think about them that way, cool. Go for it. When are you free tomorrow, Doug? Maybe in the evening? I'm not actually sure what my plans are tomorrow. I am a man who lives day by day. By that I mean my wife plans everything for me and I have no idea. Let's see. I'll remember unpainted Slanesh India. Yeah, I'd likely steamroll me. That's funny. But yeah, I'd be happy to do that. I'm terrified of your Slanesh army. Just I know how nasty Beast of Chaos could be, right? Because they have that same level of speed. The difference is the Beast of Chaos didn't do a whole lot of work when they got there, but Slanesh can. And that's terrifying. Let's see. I'm a man of constant sorrows. Let's play tomorrow. That's funny. Yep. Yeah, I do need to start getting more games in. I talk about Age of Sigmar too much to not be playing it. My favorite was the podcast Garage Hammer, which is a AOS podcast that does a lot of lore stuff and army book reviews and that kind of stuff. And it was a long time ago, but someone was writing in questions to Dave, the host, and at a certain point he answered a whole bunch of them and was kind of getting flummoxed and was like, you know what, like, I'm just gonna be honest, I never played this game. And his point in saying that was that, like, if you produce content about it, that counts as part of your hobby time. Like, I definitely count making videos part of my hobby time. But it also keeps me from doing stuff like actually playing games and that kind of stuff. That's why I took this whole week and was like, we're just going to paint. Just going to paint the hell out of stuff. And it's generally how I feel. Yeah, I get emails or Facebook messages and that kind of stuff from people like, hey, I just started this army, what would you recommend? I was like, I don't know. That's why I have all of the Facebook groups on like speed dial, like go here, go here, go here. I very intentionally never tell people what to buy just because it's like, I don't know if it looks good, but I don't know if it's a good model in the game. It just looks cool. Sean, hello. Let's see. I've tried to like Stormcast, but both the physical models and the lore just don't do it for me. Now, Free Guild with those feathers and spandex and the ability to be relatable. I love it. I want Free Guild to be amazing. Make him great again. What's Free Guild lore? We don't really have a whole lot, but those are just the inhabitants of all of the cities that have been established or reclaimed by the forces of order. Just the humans. But from the books that we have read, they come in every shape and size and color, so not really a definitive book for them yet, unfortunately. Sean, just keep painting. See, Zaku, my master stroke of genius was starting the YouTube channel so that I'd be like, yeah, honey, why don't I just start this channel and I'll try to get my hobby to pay for itself so we don't have to budget it. And she was like, oh, yeah. And that was the best idea I've had. That's it. Going to college? Irrelevant. Didn't matter. That was it. Okay. Oda Kuop? I don't know how to pronounce that. Any ideas what some of the more exotic musical instruments that some units have sound? Oh, like what the instruments for the various units sound like? Ooh, no idea. I imagine anything with Nurgle is probably just a really sorrowful, deep tone because he's also the god of like despair. But I really wonder with some of them what it's supposed to sound like. I just imagine the Slanesh one. It just looks like a flute when they blow into it. It goes ah la 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 la. It just makes weird tone oscillation sounds. You're like, ugh. It's a bravery debuff because the entire enemy is just going, ew. This sounds like the word moist. Let's see. Xander, Magnus, are you excited for contrast paints? Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited. Mainly if I want to keep going with Skaven, that would be a great place to use them. Because I just don't care about how the individual clan rats look. This is my painting project army to make them look special. But actually, honestly, what I'm more excited about is just it makes it more accessible for people. And I don't just mean from GW, I mean like other miniatures games too. Just the painting is more accessible. And I'm glad that they chose to innovate in this direction rather than just simply focusing on models and rules and that kind of stuff. Like, because that kind of innovation benefits the entire hobby. Like, people who play War Machine and Malifaux and all those games can really benefit as well. I should say industry, not the hobby. But yeah, I didn't in that display case they had where they showed all different ones, I didn't see a good teal, so I'm still kind of like working with these ones. Let's see. Steve's not going to have anything left to paint. That's funny. No, I have a tub, which basically, like, I purged a whole bunch of stuff. I threw it all up on eBay. And I'm basically down to, as far as projects go, just Skaven and Stormcast, because I don't actually have anything of KO besides what I have painted. So that project's done and is just sitting there until the book comes out. And for Stormcast, so I got, again, this huge lot of Sacrosanct stuff, and there was also like 20 Judicators. Sold off some of it because I didn't need that many of some things, but then I grabbed a bucket of Vanguard stuff. So all said and done, I have 3,980 points of Stormcast sitting around. I'm just like, so I had to box it all up and throw it in the closet so I wouldn't get overwhelmed by seeing all the unpainted models around me. At a certain point, it just feels like they're staring at you. Scaphen lives matter. That's funny. What storm host are you painting your Stormcast as? These are Celestial Vindicators, the teal and white. I'm not one of those people who locks myself into playing them as Celestial Vindicators every single game. Like if I went to a tournament, I wouldn't care. I would play them as whatever I wanted to. Probably, I feel like Hammers of Sigmar is a pretty popular one. But for most narrative play things, I'm happy to be Celestial Vindicators. They got some rules, and I never see anyone play with them. Like, actually play with the Stormhost rules of Celestial Vindicators. But they have a command ability that, like, lets you give an extra attack to all the melee weapons. So I'm looking through, and, like, most Stormcast is pretty well balanced in terms of, like, there's nothing that's, like, above and beyond punchy. Evocators are pretty great. Some of the Dracoline dudes are pretty awesome. But for the most part, like, there's not some magic unit that is like one attack away from being amazing and unstoppable. So we got a lot of internal balance going on. Just some on my brush. Painted a Knight Quester. Cool. Conversion as a Hallowed Knight to bring in as an ally for free guild. That's sweet. Yeah, the Knight Quester is a really cool model. Got a cool pose to him. And Rolling Ones on the Charge. Yes, that is also their thing. Their jam. But if you play with the Cleansing Phalanx, which I'm planning to do, you get to re-roll all the things anyway. Because that battalion is bonkers. But I will use that one sparingly because I've seen it played against, and it can be very unfun. If you don't know, the Cleansing Phalanx is 2 units of Evocators and 2 units of Sequitors. That's exactly what I'm building for my 2K list. Just because I have a lot of infantry, it's an infantry-heavy thing, obviously, so I have 2 units of 10 Sequitors and 2 units of 5 Evocators. If you're not familiar, basically after all the things are combined, the Sequitors can reroll failed hit, wound, and save rolls. So they just become like this beef mountain that's just a pain to walk through. All right. Uno más. Actually cut up the Knight Zephyros model, gave her a sword and shield. That's cool. Yeah, she's got a fantastic pose, that like lunging forward kind of thing. Oh, I love it. I'm going to keep mine as a Zephyros just because I do want to do Vanguard stuff. I so wish that the Zephyros made Hunter's battle line and the Aqualore made Pallador's battle line. I think that would be a great change. And not one that would break anything by any stretch, because neither of those units are super in vogue. What I need are another 10 halberdiers and handgunners so that I can get that sweet, sweet auto hit with a unit of 40. Oh, yep. Okay. All right. Looking good. How is my prime looking? Oh, he's looking good enough to base. Well, he's already got the base done, but I mean dry base, dry brush, whatever it is. Cool. So we're gonna let that Celester Gray dry on those dudes. Grab my Ashanti Bone. Okay. So yeah, I've been following along. Basically, all I do for bases until I take my class with Duncan and Nova. I just throw down some. What's it called? The texture. Sterling, the mud one. And then I just do a dry brush of Ushabti Bone over that, just to add a little bit of color diversity there. Prime is looking fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna this evening keep an eye on my Instagram in the notes down below, because I'm going to take a whole bunch of pictures of everything we painted this week and throw it up there. Yeah, Sterling Mud is a fantastic. It's actually my favorite of the texture paints. It just kind of goes with everything. It takes washes really well if you want to tint the earth a little bit. Which, you know, people don't always do, but if you wanna, it's there. And I dig it. And I find that a bottle lasts quite a while. Like, I grabbed 2 when I set about this project. And, you know, I just finished the first bottle and I did everything except for him. Like, I literally just like didn't have enough to do him. So that would be 26 models, and that's across like different base sizes, like the Lord Arcanum on Griff Charger. The ballistas have a huge base. It's just a lot of dead space. So it's quite a bit. You know, you get quite a bit of those paint pots. What's nice about the mud one is it's thinner, so you can actually spread it around like butter on toast, and it has a lot more coverage. I have what's it called? The other one, Battlemire. And that one's a lot more thick and chunky. It's really great for like creating, if you're trying to build up an effect. Like if I wanted to have on this base, raise the earth level to be more level with whatever she's standing on, it'd be a fantastic one because it's just chunky blocks on there really well. But yeah, I do my basing with sand from a sandbox that you stole from a nearby playground. That works too. Let's see. What do you to represent energy discharge, like magic and like how do I do energy going out? Honestly, I keep it very, very simple, and whatever effect the color I want it to be, I just dry brush it. So let's say well, I don't really have an example of someone with their arm out. Let's see. Okay, let's say I want to take this guy's hammer, and I wanted like the energy to be coming out of his hammer. Let me make sure that this is showing up right. What I would do is I paint the whole thing first, and then I would dry brush on very, very like lightly the different tones that I want it to be. So, yeah. Did you answer? Learn, train, play? I didn't see your question from before, so go ahead and ask it again, and I will get it. So yeah, I would just do dry brushing. I don't do anything super special. Some people swear by like washes and glazes and that kind of stuff. but yeah, I just build it up with different colors. I think the key is to having more than one. So like, say I wanted to do like a blue, right? It's a silver weapon with a blue. I might dry brush it with maybe like 2 different tones of blue, having a darker one towards the base of the weapon where it connects to the arm, and then a lighter one dry brush toward the top, that kind of stuff. So, question: the epitome has an ability that affects all units within 6 inches to strike last, like the locus of diversion. Can you target the same unit if the locus fails? My understanding is yes, because they are 2 different effects, but let me pull up their war scroll to be absolutely sure. Heat Knights of Slanesh, let's learn together. We want the contorted epitome. I know it's the epitome. Horrible Fascination. Start combat phase, roll a dice for each enemy unit within 6 inches of any friendly mobs with this ability. On a 4-up. Yep, so it's a different ability. And it is written the same way, but that's fine. They're just 2 different things. So my understanding is, yes, you would definitely want to try with your Locust first, and this is a hero, so they would get both, I'd imagine. And then if that fails, yeah, that's my understanding. Nothing says that they don't interact, like if you can't try it again or like that. Yeah, no. So my understanding is yes. If anyone else has a way to refute that, please let me know. But they are different abilities, different names. Horrible Fascination and the Locus of Diversion. Yeah. Unless there's an FAQ. Let's look at the FAQ. Oh, come on, community. Oh, why am I zoomed in so much? Let's just double check that FAQ. Looks like it's chaos. Huh. Oh, have they not come out with an FAQ for Heat Knights yet? Battle Tome. No, I guess they haven't. That's right. And they occur in different phases. That is true. No, I don't think they've come out with a FAQ for it yet. My understanding is, why wouldn't it? You know. I know that a rhetorical question is not really a stance per se, but it's where I go. Now, everyone knows the most important part of modeling with GW models is the shrubbery phase, where you add shrubs to your model's bases. Some people love it, some people hate it. We all have to endure it. Okay. Okay, got that one. Okay. I wish Seekers were battle line. I had a good reason to take them. Are Seekers, are they never battle line? I thought there was some way to get in battle line. I could be definitely wrong about that. Just the chariots. Okay. Okay, so just waiting a little bit, and then we're gonna do the black rim on his base, and he is 110% Dunzo. Seekers are battle line for a God Seeker's host. Okay. I didn't know they had broken it up by the hosts have different battle line options. So basically, I got the Battle Tome from G-Dubs, and it was very kind of them to send me an early copy, and so I just cranked out the lore videos and then got it to Jack over at Ruling Ones because he is a Slanesh boy. So he was very excited to get his mitts on that book. Which I will certainly regret, but he was going to buy it anyway, so. Not giving it to him just would have delayed the inevitable of him beating me with the Slanesh army. Just going over the trim with a little bit of black. Does Slanesh have any battle line in Hedonites of Slanesh, like where it's just like a general battle line, but only if you take Hedonites specifically? Like not, I know Demonites are just battle line, but kind of like how Liberators are battle line for everybody, but Judicators are battle line in Stormcast. It's like, well, of course you're playing Stormcast. Okay, and with these guys, okay, got him. I'm just gonna put him off to the side. Sweet. Celestin Prime is Dunzo. Sweet. I feel good about that. As far as these guys go, I have these guys and 5 evocators, which is I'm so close to my 2,000 point army goal. I don't know if I'll get the evocators built, primed, and painted. Let me see what my forecast is as far as priming goes. Weather. Okay, tomorrow looks like a better priming day anyway. 72 degrees. Let's see. Q, we're going to see a new Evertozen battle time anytime soon. I have no information. I don't get any clues. No early access, that kind of stuff. But I'd like to. I really would. Of all the Chaos battle tomes, I think that is the one that needs the most love. And I say that because Archeon should be scary. And that's I think the element that's missing. Like, one of the things I was really excited about when they moved from the Rumgate Wars, which had Chaos as the main villain, into Soul Wars, is that like they built Nagash up to be a scary character, right? And he's doing weird stuff and he's like terrorizing the lands. Did an ace job on that. I love it. Whereas I don't feel the same way about Archeon. And there are different kinds of threats that they present. Like, what's cool about Nagash is that he can kind of be anywhere because he is a god, but Archeon can only be in one place. His terror comes from the endless troops that he commands. And so they're, like I said, just different kinds of threats. But I want them to swing in a way where Archeon, or at least redo Archeon specifically in a way where he becomes scary again. And his forces become scary again. At some point, I do want them to swing in such a way that destruction is the big bad. Like, I don't know what that narrative arc would be, but something where the tyrants of Gorka Morka rise up, and it's just like everything is going to crap. You could actually do a cool thing where destruction and chaos are both ascendant, because they're both pushing back against the kind of pseudo orders of death and order itself, order proper. And that could be a cool arc. Just like everything's falling apart. Give me 1 second. Got a new belt that was digging into my side. Okay. Here we are with these guys. So I'm trying to think. I'm trying to way to compensate, because usually I do the wash on the teal first before the white, and it just skipped my mind. So let's knock that out real quick. Prime. Just gonna sit awkwardly right there. Okay. Age of Slanesh. Love the name. Question: I'm thinking of doing a Slaves to Darkness army from the Realm of Light. Do you think Retribution Gold Chaos Warriors would be suitable? Oh, that'd be cool. So like, well, yeah, Retributor Gold is the same color that Hammers of Sigmar is. That'd be sweet. I love out there color schemes. That sounds rad. There we go. Colia Green Shade, my favorite wash. Okay. You could paint them like the Black Legion in 40k, which is black and golds. For sure. Yeah, I mean, if you just want to do... my Slaves to Darkness were black armor with white capes. Point I'm trying to say is you can just really do whatever you want. There's no wrong answers when it comes to a paint scheme, in my opinion. Because, I mean, you're always going to have like those characters who want to show affluence and wealth. So doing a gold scheme on them like just makes absolute narrative sense. So gold with black trim. Gold. Yeah. Yep. That's what Black Legion does. I'm trying to remember the trim on Chaos Warriors, like what the how detail was. I feel like there was more trim on Chaos Space Marines to really bring out like different gold to break up the black a little bit more. But that might be a false memory. I don't know. Okay. Adrian asks you, are the Slanesh worshippers? I hope so. He named his channel Age of Slanesh. Be a waste of a great Google name. Also be cool to have just like any Chaos God aligned thing that just really value treasures in gold and want to share how much they've been able to earn with other Chaos Warbands. So you don't have to be Slash. Is my point. I think once I get the washes done, it'll probably be a good time to take a break and then bust out the old photo booth. Because these things will take a while to dry. But then after that, I'll kind of go back to my normal pattern of painting these guys since I'll have the washes down, and that'll just be gold. Gold for days. Doug, so my fan-made Chaos God character, Hugh the Great Darkness Number Yet. 2 Chaos Space Marine Warbands. One is called Darkness Suns. The other is called Dark Legion of Voidmar. I like it. Let's see. Thanks, Dick. Oh yeah. I am no judge of lore for sure, but I like when folks come up with their own. So at one point I mentioned like the idea of doing like a lore contest of like, hey everybody, send me your fan made lore or short stories, that kind of stuff, and I have a little like impromptu contest because I certainly don't work for Black Library or anything like that. But then I remembered like, man, that means I gotta like first of all read a bunch of stuff and then also choose. I don't know. I should still do it. People are pretty good sports, I think. My Gloomtide shipwreck made me rethink the green technical paint on my Deepkin. Green technical paint. What is the green technical paint again? Green technical paint. I cannot remember what that is. Is it the Nihilic Oxide or whatever it is? Because some people have done like an ethereal ship with that. Let's see. Oh yeah, X-ray flame could be that too. That is the Hexwraith stuff. Oh yeah. Never actually got a chance to use that. Let's see. You're cruising along on these guys. It's just a slow haul to get this done. The washing stage is always the least interesting, right? When you're just kind of trying to be careful. It was way more intense than I expected. That's what I've heard. If you want more of a teal, there is another paint that does like rust effects called Nihilic Oxide. That one's much more of a teal. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, so the thing we've seen with the contrast paints, and I'll kind of bring this into Adrian, your thing is that like they say just apply it and it's just done, you know, one thick coat, whatever like that. But like I think there's going to be more subtlety to it because they came out with the Night Haunt paints, which are also sort of honestly technical paints that you can just do one thick coat with, but they don't quite look right. There is some skill involved in applying those things correctly, and I haven't figured it out. Like I tried the Gloom one, the darker blue, just didn't look right, and I was like, I was at a GW store and he let me take an old Liberator and just like, basically I wanted to do like they showed in White Dwarf, you do Lead Belcher and then the Gloom Tide, whatever like that, the dark blue thing that came out along the same time as Hex Wraith Flame. I just could not get it to look right, so there's a little bit of a curve for sure that I certainly could not figure out. Okay, there we go. Okay, friends, I'm pretty much going to stop here. I'm almost at the 2-hour mark. Nice. And I'm going to bust out my photo box, take a whole bunch of pictures. So if you want to see what the finished just about 1,500 points looks like, go look in the description down below. Follow my Instagram or Facebook. It's going to pop up on both of them. And I'll see y'all really, really soon. So anyway, I will catch you all in my next stream. Don't have an exact time for that yet. Maybe late tonight. I don't know. We'll find out. I have to work on some videos for the week and get back to doing recorded content. But yeah, I'll see you all real soon, and happy wargaming.